How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you an update on the couple in St. Louis that came out of their beautiful mansion with guns. Probably the first time they've held guns in their life. They were not very well trained, but it doesn't matter. They came out of their mansion with their guns to protect themselves after a mob of Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and a bunch of other numbnuts broke the gate that is adjacent to their property and then trespassed onto their property. Now, I'm not really sure how many were out there. It could have been dozens, it could have been hundreds, who knows? But it was an entire mob of people. Now, the husband in the case has spoken out. He went on Fox News last night on Tucker Carlson's show and gave his side of the story. Now, this, you have to see it. You got to see what's going on here. After we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll give you any other information that he didn't say. Then I'll give you my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Mark McCloskey joins us tonight along with his attorney, Albert Watkins. Mr. McCloskey, first to you, thanks so much for coming on. And I'm glad you're on because you will tell your own story rather than having it told for you by ideologues. Describe for us, if you would, why you believed you and your wife were threatened by these 300 people in your yard.
Well, Tucker, you got to understand, my house sits right on the edge of a road called Kings Highway, and our private place is Portland Place, where my wife and I were preparing to have dinner, maybe 70 feet from the gate. By the time we looked up and we saw the marchers coming down Kings Highway and getting loud, we looked over at the gate, and there's no police there. Our private security wasn't there. Nobody's there, and I look over at my wife, and I see all these people outside the gate, and then the gate bursts open. People start coming in, and then a flood of people start coming in. They're angry, they're screaming, they've got spittle coming out of their mouth. They're coming towards the house. And you know, on June the 2nd of this year, the protests in downtown St. Louis went violent instantly. People, the looting and violence and rioting. I watched on live TV the 7-Eleven in downtown St. Louis, from the moment the first window was broken, throughout the looting process, till the fire was started, and then till the fire fully engaged the building, and nobody came that entire time. I looked over at my wife and I said, oh my God, we're absolutely alone. There's nobody here to protect us but us. That was the same night retired police captain David Doran was murdered. When I saw that mob come through the gate with their rage and their anger, I thought that we would be overrun in a second. By the time I was out there with my rifle, the people were 20 or 30 feet from my front wall. I've got a low wall that separates the house from my front yard. And so I was literally afraid that within seconds they would surmount the wall, come into the house, kill us, burn the house down, and everything that I'd worked for and struggled for the last 32 years. Tucker, I lived out in West St. Louis County in a nice, secure neighborhood. 32 years ago, we moved into the city and took on a project to restore a house that nobody else wanted. And you know, we were urban pioneers in those days, and we've been there ever since, working to build and maintain St. Louis in this very historic neighborhood. And I saw it all going up in flames and my life destroyed in an instant. And I did what I thought I had to do to protect my hearth, my home, and my family.
Well, no one was protecting you, and they were screaming at you and threatening to murder your dog and harm you and your wife. What do you make of the attacks on you for doing what we used to believe every homeowner had an obligation to do? Why are they denouncing you as a racist?
I don't understand. And you know, here's the interesting thing. I've spent my career defending people that are defenseless, for people that are having a hard time making their miracle happen, for people that don't have a voice. My black clients love us. The night that this happened, I had some of our black clients calling us up till 2:30 in the morning, telling us how wrong it was, the way the press was writing us up, telling how wrong it was that we should be portrayed as racist. This is what I do for a living. I help people that are down and that need a hand, and the people that need a voice. To call us racist is ridiculous, and it had nothing to do with race. I wasn't worried what the race was of the mob that came through my gate. I was worried that I was going to be killed. I didn't care what race they were.
It's disgusting. Very quickly, Mr. Watkins, do you think that the McCloskeys face the risk of being prosecuted in this?
Well, given the fact that we have a political animal in the circuit attorney's office, there is a risk. If the law prevails, long-standing Missouri law prevails, they're fine.
Yep.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, what he said right there in that clip is pretty much what I was saying in my original video. And if you've not seen that, I linked to it in the box. But what I was saying was, these people are watching the news. They understand what's going on in their city. You know, in my video, I thought they may have seen the protest that just happened not too far away from them at the statue of King Louis IX, which is where St. Louis, where they live, gets its name. At that particular so-called protest, you had old white guys getting punched in the mouth, all kind of crazy stuff was going on. So I figured they had seen that. Maybe they did see that, but what they really saw that alerted them about their lack of safety, lack of police presence, lack of, you know, any kind of help from the outside coming in was a so-called protest that descended into chaos over a period of time with no police ever showing up. And that is a so-called protest, really a riot, insurrection, where David Dorn lost his life. So they're like, okay, we see what's going on here in the city. If you need some help, if you are in any kind of dangerous situation, the police aren't coming. The security that we have in the neighborhood aren't coming. You're pretty much on your own. So they had no choice other than to get the guns and to protect themselves. Some may say that he was being overdramatic, talking about, oh, they're going to come in the house and kill me and burn my house down. No, he was not being overdramatic. He was being 100% accurate, because we've seen how these mobs operate. All it takes is some crazy people in the mix of crazy people, just somebody that's a little bit crazier than the general crowd, to go into the house, start breaking stuff. Everybody follows. Now the life is in danger. Not only their life, obviously, that's the most important thing, but also this mansion. You know, I made a mistake saying that they're from the suburbs. Well, they are from the suburbs, but that's not where they were at. They were in the city. They came back to the city to fix this house up that nobody else wanted. Like I said, it was covered in soot. It was dilapidated. Over the course of 32 years, they built it back up. So they put all their money, time, energy, years into this property, and they want to protect themselves. So what are you going to do when you have a mob of hundreds of people angry, yelling, screaming, breaking into the gate and coming onto your property? What else can you do? Okay, people say that, oh, they're going to go to jail. You can't point guns at people. Well, you can't break into somebody's private property, get onto their property, and then when they say leave, go, you want to be up there screaming, yelling, all this and that and the third. You can't do that. Like I said, if you want to protest, because they were going to the mayor's house, that was their purpose, or their first purpose. They could have, you know, robbed the house and burned it just along the way. But anyway, if you want to protest somebody, like, don't come to my house. Don't go to their house. All right. It's like if you want to go to the White House, like I said, if you want to try to breach the White House gate, good luck with that. Okay. Your head will get turned to a rat top real quick. You understand? You'll go from an egg to scrambled eggs. You feel what I'm saying? But different story, I digress. My whole point is, don't go to anybody's house. Go to City Hall, do it in the appropriate way. So there's little to no chance of the husband or the wife going to the penitentiary. They're protecting themselves against the mob. And like Tucker said in this show, they still have to fight the mob to a certain extent, because the local circuit attorney general, Kimberly Gardner, has an axe to grind against the white man, apparently, because she's radical. She's crazy. Most of the cases that got brought to her by the St. Louis police don't even get prosecuted. Like 28% actually go to prosecution. And she's like really contentious with people. She sued a local police union under the Klan Act for denying minorities their civil rights. Just really crazy. So he may face a battle with that lady. But what people may not know is that the McCloskeys, husband and the wife that defended themselves, they're actually lawyers. They're personal injury lawyers, and they defend a lot of black clients, probably pro bono. Okay, you're not really, that's going to be a hard fight to fight. That one right there. You know, he probably has a lot of friends, you know, high places, and the lawyer that he was sitting right next to on Tucker's show is probably high powered himself. So I don't think there will be any kind of movement that happens as it relates to that, although it could be. It shouldn't be, because what else are you going to do when people break into your private property and they're angry, they're yelling and everything else? What are you going to do? Oh, you can't brandish a gun, you can't point, like, you, okay, there's a threat right there. People breaking into my private property and yelling at me, screaming at me, throwing things and everything. What am I supposed to do? He was right on point. And you know what? As I close, I want to say this. the couple in St. Louis and anyone else that protect themselves legally using their Second Amendment rights or whatever else they want to use, I commend you. I salute you. We're going to need a lot more of that because the police can't be everywhere. The police can't be a security force. The military can't be your private security. At a certain point, you got to be able to protect yourself. That's why we have rights. This is why you don't give guns away. People say, oh, give the guns to the police. They should be the only ones that have them. Then they say, okay, we're going to defund the police to the tune of $1 billion with it be dollars in New York City. In LA, they're defunding them, and everybody's trying to defund the police, break apart the police, suing the police, attacking the police. In the case of the McCloskeys, they had called the police. Nobody's coming. They called the private security force. Ain't nobody coming. You got to protect yourself. The Second Amendment is just for people like the McCloskeys. Now, I got to say, if you're going to get a gun, get some training, because what I saw out there was not very good as far as gun handling, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day when your life is on the line. When you want to protect yourself, protect your property, then you're going to go out there with what you have. That's your right. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that I'm correct with what I'm saying about the McCloskeys being able to protect themselves and any red-blooded American being able to do the same thing? Should you be able to have guns and do that if you want to or not? Should you just let the guns go away to the police and let them, quote unquote, protect you? What are you going to do in the middle of the night? Somebody's like at your front door, banging it down or trying to bang it down, and the door's getting looser and looser. What are you going to do? You could call the police, but how long until the police get there will you have to survive? How long will that door hold out before it just finally caves in? You have to be able to protect yourself. I don't advocate no violence. I'm all about peace. But a peaceful nation is a protected nation. It's an armed nation. Do you agree, disagree? How do you feel about the lawyers in general? Will they have any kind of problems legally? How you feel about this rogue lady, Kimberly Gardner, and that's her name? How you feel about her? There's a bunch of Kimberly Gardners all over the country, and that's part of the problem. So if there's any so-called police reform that needs to happen, I think it's more about leadership, the prosecution, and the brass in charge, the mayor, the governor. That is who should be reformed, not your regular everyday police, in my humble opinion. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.